on YouTube? What's going on, fellow fantasy people? And as always, what is going on? The catch fam. You already know what time it is, man. We are rolling right into another mock draft. This is probably going to be my last recorded 10-man mock draft. I've alluded to this, my last 8-man mock draft that I will be doing some live streams in which I can conduct more, specific mock drafts that you guys might need to see. But realistically, this is going to be the last one, man, and super stoked to hop right into it. So we've got PPR scoring format, 10-man league, of course, right? We're drafting through ESPN, and I've got the 10th overall selection. So as always, man, if you guys do enjoy this video, go ahead and smash that like button. Go ahead and hit the sub button, man. We're on the road to 100 subscribers here at the catch, and we are getting closer and closer day in and day out. And as always, man, drop some comments down below. Let me know when I do conduct these upcoming live streams what type of mock drafts you guys are needing to see as well. So let's hop right into it, man. With that 10th overall pick, there's some really interesting things you can do. You can go out and solidify two stud receivers like a Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams. Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs. You can go in and get Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes and go ahead and lock up, the Kansas City Chiefs duo, right? You can go out and get two stud running backs, which is probably what we're going to do, as much as I want to keep playing around with the idea of going out and getting Patty Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, right? But nonetheless, I mean, the other option is you go out and you get a stud receiver and a stud running back, but we'll just kind of evaluate things as we see CMC, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, and Derrick Henry all off the board. So a lot of good value already taken, of course, going to happen in your obviously in your top 4 picks, right? So nonetheless, we will just keep on evaluating things. The other option here is pairing with Patrick Mahomes. That is obviously Travis Kelce, right? But on the ESPN rankings, you see Travis Kelce very, very highly ranked at the 6th overall spot. If I'm not mistaken, earlier in the preseason / offseason on ESPN, he was ranked 4th overall. So we see Jonathan Taylor selected 5th overall. Don't have a problem with it whatsoever. If that's your RB1, then more power to you, man. And then Saquon Barkley off the board. I do think that Jonathan Taylor is going to have a phenomenal year, regardless of when our guy Carson Wentz comes back to that offense or not. So I don't have a problem with that selection whatsoever, as we now see Saquon Barkley and Devontae Adams followed by Ezekiel Elliott all off the board, man. So I could certainly go Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes here, which I don't think I've done in an ESPN mock draft yet. So let's do it, man. And I've got one more pick. Travis Kelce might get selected here. I got confused. I don't know, man. That honestly helps me because I don't know if I could really do it, man. I really want to try and stay true to my actual strategy here, give you guys some, good overall actual evaluation, right? But man, I'm telling you, the more and more I think about it, if I have the final pick in the first round, regardless of it being a 10-man or 14-man league, and there goes Travis Kelce, right? And Travis Kelce and Patty Mahomes are available, or Tyreek Hill and Patty Mahomes are available, which they are right now, I'm gonna have a really difficult time not picking them, man. But then I just start to think about the running back position, and but yeah, let's do it. I'm gonna do it for the sake of this mock draft, man, and let's just get it over with, right? And yeah, there we go. Patty Mahomes and Tyreek Hill on this team. And now, literally, here's the problem, right? For the next like 6 selections, I've got to pick the best running backs overall. But just imagine if we come out of this with 3 or 4 running backs that we're really confident in. If somehow we can get a David Montgomery and James Robinson to fall to us, then we can go out and potentially get like a Josh Jacobs as well as like a Darrell Henderson. Then we might not feel too bad about this squad overall. I think we can get a tight end in later rounds that we're confident in. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's really, really difficult for me to not take Aaron Jones and Nick Chubb there, right? Or at least Nick Chubb and like a Tyreek Hill there, right? I mean, Austin Eckler available as well, Najee Harris. So Antonio Gibson, he just got selected. I mean, a lot of good running backs were sitting there, and it's really hard for me to not do that. But then I just, because you're taking a gamble, right? But like I just said, if this works out to where we still come out of this draft with a lot of running backs that we feel good about, then it might be worth it in the long run, man. Just having Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill on your team week in and week out. And I mean, I guess, the other way to evaluate this is we could have gone Tyreek Hill and Nick Chubb, for example. And then in the third round, we may have still been able to get Patrick Mahomes. But man, I'm telling you, as many of these mock drafts as I've done by this point, I've seen Patty Mahomes go anywhere from pick 5 to pick 40. I mean, it's just, if you want him on your team, you got to go out and get him when you have the opportunity, because there's really no telling when he's going to be selected. It's a really difficult thing to evaluate, right? But nonetheless, I mean, we have got 11 more selections until we pick. Let's go ahead and pull up the all position so we can see where some of those running backs we like are sitting. We might get really lucky here. I mean, not that everyone goes by the top overall selections, right? But let's see. There goes Calvin Ridley. So now we're up in 10 picks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's going to be going too fast for me to do this. But I think that David Montgomery and James Robinson are sitting down here in a good enough area that we might be able to get both of them, which would make me ecstatic, right? That would be the perfect scenario. But hey, those guys are on a lot of people's draft boards, right? But I think the thing that's may help us out here is we see Darren Waller off the board. There goes George Kittle. That's going to give us a little bit of cushion. And then we would hope that someone is really high on a Josh Allen or a Kyler Murray here and maybe goes out and reaches for them here at the end of the fourth round or end of the third round, excuse me. But I don't know, man. I see that as a more likely scenario in the fourth round than I do in the third round. But maybe we were able to apply a little bit of pressure at the QB position. But maybe not. But nonetheless, I mean, a lot of good receivers. I can basically bank on A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson getting selected here. And then things are going to get a little murky with those two running backs sitting there as well. And there goes Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown. But a lot of good receivers still sitting here that may help us out. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still sitting here. Someone who I would consider at this point in the draft at pick 30, although that ankle injury kind of, makes us a little bit wary overall. But nonetheless, we just really are crossing our fingers that Montgomery and Robinson fall to us. If I were to go out and get Patty Mahomes in the first round and then get either, a Travis Kelce or a Tyreek Hill, then that would be my dream scenario. That David Montgomery and James Robinson fall back at the double selection in the third and fourth round. So nothing to do but wait about a minute and a half or so here and hope that these drafters really like Terry McLaurin and Allen Robinson. But I guess probably the smart thing to do would to start to be looking at who's our next guys, right? There goes Keenan Allen. I would have to say that Miles Sanders and Josh Jacobs are probably the next two guys I would look at overall. Looking at the receiver position, I mean, I already think that we've locked up possibly the wide receiver one on the year, and there goes David Montgomery. So we missed out on one guy. Terry McLaurin was the next player taken off the board. So let's take James Robinson here. Then let's wait a second, and we'll just roll with Miles Sanders. I mean, Chris Carson's a pretty good selection overall here as well. Interesting, just looking back. I remember having him last year, but nonetheless, let's take Miles Sanders, man. Let's just roll with that. Man, we are so close. I'm really bummed, man. I really thought we were going to get both James Robinson and David Montgomery there. We were really, really close, but I started to have a bad feeling towards the end, especially right when I said maybe we need to start making a different game plan. But nonetheless, man, I still think that we have two RB1 sitting here. I mean, I know like my co-host Steven, not very high on that of Miles Sanders overall. Excuse me. And I think that obviously Jalen Hurts is going to eat into that value just a little bit, right? But overall, I do think that's the best, selection we could have made. I mean, you guys know that I'm really high on Josh Jacobs overall. I wouldn't have mind just taking Josh Jacobs there, but I think there's an opportunity for us to still be able to turn around and get Josh Jacobs and then pair him with a guy like Darrell Henderson. But we'll see what happens. We could also go ahead and reach for, like a Gus Edwards or Javonte Williams. Those would be kind of the next tier. And probably, like I said, where I'm going to have to go, considering that we're probably going to have to be drafting 6 running backs in a row just to give us the best RB1 potential. And then in the back half of the draft, be selecting a lot of those sleeper wide receivers. We might sprinkle a wide receiver into some of these next coming selections. And then we're just going to be shooting for a tight end like a Robert Tonyan, Mike Gesicki, Robert Gronkowski, Johnny Smith, some of those guys in later rounds, which I'm completely fine with. That's not the part of the draft that's stressing me or by any means, right? I think if we can go out and sprinkle a guy like Jerry Judy in here, that would kind of give us some, pretty good feeling about the wide receiver 2 position. And then we want to go and look at guys like, Corey Davis and Mike Williams, Antonio Brown, right? So nonetheless, we will just sit back and keep evaluating things as Brandon Ayuk is off the board. But just think about it, man. We're going to come out of this draft with Patty Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. How much fear are you going to put in to your opponent week in and week out if both of those guys are on your roster? It's going to be absolutely insane. So the way things are looking at the moment, this is where we're really hoping that people start to select some quarterbacks because we need a little bit of cushion in order to get a Josh Jacobs in this coming pick at pick 50. Mark Andrews off the board. That's the other thing that we're kind of hoping for, is that a couple tight ends kind of give us some cushion here as well, so we can go out and get Josh Jacobs and then pair him with either Gus Edwards or Javonte Williams. If it gets bad enough, then we can throw Kareem Hunt in that mix as well. I'm not as high on Chase Edmonds or Myles Gaskin. So really looking at Josh Jacobs, Edwards, and Williams with these coming picks at pick 50 and 51. I think we have a pretty good shot at getting 2 of those guys, but I'm not going to be surprised if Josh Jacobs goes off the board and we just miss out on getting David Montgomery and we just miss out on getting Josh Jacobs. And those would really be, the best value players to add to this roster. So we'll see what happens, man. Once again, we are, going to sit back for about a minute and a half and cross our fingers. And that's kind of probably the main concern with going out and getting Patrick Mahomes in the first round, is you're going to have some scenarios throughout the draft where you're pretty anxious about what's going to happen, right? And if those specific guys you want are going to fall to you or not. And that's really what it's going to boil down to, right? Because there's going to be some specific players that you're going to really hope fall to you and all the right guys land to you. So nonetheless, I think we're going to be able to get 2 pretty valuable running backs, and then in the 7th round, turn around and get a receiver and another running back that we like, is probably how we're going to have to do this. And it's probably going to be pretty close as well. But being that no quarterbacks have been taken other than my guy Patty Mahomes, if I'm not mistaken, as we see some really good selections: Deontay Johnson, Chris Godwin, DJ Moore, Kyle Pitts, Robbie Anderson, and Julio Jones. But let's check the QB position. Yet no one else has gone, so that should give us some pretty good cushion moving in to the 7th round. So let's select Josh Jacobs like we talked about, and then you've kind of got your pick of Gus Edwards versus Javonte Williams. I really like both of these guys, at least at where we're drafting from, right? So let's pick up Gus Edwards. Another really interesting move that we probably just couldn't realistically pull off would to be going ahead and just taking Josh Allen or Kyler Murray and just really messing up your whole league, man. If I'm not mistaken, my co-host Steven, his dad last year took Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes, and that really shook things up, especially for the beginning of the season last year. You couldn't even really decide who to put out there, and actually Dak Prescott was performing better in that time period. But nonetheless, it would have really behooved him to try and trade Dak Prescott, obviously with that injury, which, we don't look at injuries as anything fortunate, but realistically it would have been, right? But nonetheless, it's an option, right? If quarterbacks aren't going, you already have Patrick Mahomes and you take a Kyler Murray, you're going to gear up that pressure like crazy. But obviously we are hurting at some specific positions here. So nonetheless, we kind of hope that some more quarterbacks get taken here, as we have seen Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, and Lamar Jackson taken. We've also seen TJ Hawkinson sprinkled in there. There goes Aaron Rodgers, and now a couple receivers and running backs. Raheem Mostert, Javonte Williams. We see Kenny Galladay sprinkled in there, and T. Higgins. But nonetheless, we want to turn around here and draft Darrell Henderson and draft Jerry Judy. Those are our top targets. If we secure those two guys, then this roster is going to I'm going to feel very confident in it overall. But there is a high chance that Jerry Judy gets selected. We just saw a lot of players wiped out. Myles Gaskin, Kareem Hunt, Odell Beckham, Juju, Mike Davis. Now one more pick or two more picks. Of course, one of them is Jerry Judy, man. We were really, really, really close there, man. That is a bummer. And like I said, that's going to happen if you go out and get a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes in the first round. You're going to have a lot of points in the draft where you are crossing your fingers. But nonetheless, let's add Chase Claypool, who gives us some really good big play opportunity, right? And then let's add Darrell Henderson. Let's get another running back. I mean, you guys know how I feel about the running back position, and now I feel pretty confident about the squad we've put together. Not as good as if we had got my guy Jerry Judy, right? But nonetheless, we still have James Robinson, Miles Sanders, Josh Jacobs, Gus Edwards, and Darrell Henderson at the running back position, and we are going to have Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes week in and week out. So now we can actually take a little bit of a breather, move away from the running back position, and let's start to look at some of the receivers available, man. I mean, there are some guys that I really, really like. There goes Corey Davis, man. Do not bank on Corey Davis going in late rounds at this point in time. He is a true wide receiver one. But speaking of true wide receiver ones, here are some other options: Michael Pittman, Jacoby Myers, and our guy Callaway on the Saints. And then Devonta Smith, he just got selected, another true wide receiver one. Tyrell Williams on the Lions. It's not pretty, but he is a receiver one. So obviously, at this point in time, our receivers are looking a little thin, especially with a lot of these guys just got selected. Chenault Jr., Jamar Chase, Will Fuller. I mean, we're really going to be digging in the trenches, and that's another price that we pay for taking Patty Mahomes there in the first round. If we had, gotten a running back there, then we would have had an opportunity to free up one more roster spot and select another wide receiver earlier on. But I certainly think this could still work out in the long run, right? Think about the amount of wide receivers that are going to come up on the waiver wire throughout the regular season. It is always an extremely saturated position. So I'm not stressing out by any means. Let's go ahead and check the tight end position. I think we can hold off at the moment, although we would really like to get both Mike Gesicki and Robert Tonyan on this team. So I really wanted to be able to get Antonio Brown here, or one of those Jacksonville Jaguars wide receivers. But they all got 8 up. So let's move to the receiver position. I mean, Jarvis Landry gives us some good value right at the receiver position. Let's go ahead and snag up Mike Williams, who we have pretty good conviction in. Then let's look at the tight ends available. And I mean, there's a couple guys that we like there, obviously, right? But if we can get, let's just look. We've got a lot of time, got 30 seconds. I mean, part of me wants to just take Jarvis Landry. I feel like that makes the most sense, but let's take a chance on Jalen Waddle and add a potential wide receiver one who can break out, whether it's midseason or early on to this roster. And then we want to turn around and really go ahead and snag up 2 more receivers, or at least 1 receiver and 1 tight end. So I almost took Robert Tonyan with that last pick. When we're looking at the running backs available, Ronald Jones is still sitting here, so it wouldn't hurt to get tight end like a Robert Tonyan or Mike Gesicki, and then add Ronald Jones and add our final running back to this squad as well. But nonetheless, I mean, I think that going out and targeting one of our tight ends with that last selection over Jalen Waddle wouldn't have hurt. But if we can still get Robert Tonyan or Mike Gesicki here and Ronald Jones, and we're not going to feel bad whatsoever about drafting Jalen Waddle, who gives us some big play opportunity, some breakout potential opportunity on this roster. And then what we can do, in the 13th round is turn around and get another receiver who we have queued up here, whether it's Callaway, Jacoby Myers, or Michael Pittman, who just got selected, man. I mean, some of these guys, they're really not sleepers anymore. They are prime targets on individuals draft boards, right? So I mean, Corey Davis is a perfect example of a guy who's just moving up and up and up, right? A lot of those Jacksonville Jaguars wide receivers starting to move up, whether they're ranked accordingly or not. I mean, I don't think they are. I think they should be much higher up. So should guys like Corey Davis, right? So nonetheless, these guys are wide receiver ones, and you need to not ignore them, man, because if you want them on your squad, they are very likely going to be going pretty early, as we see Tyler Higbee and Devin Singletary off the board. So between Robert Tonyan and Mike Gesicki, I don't think you're going to go wrong. I mean, I wouldn't mind picking up both of these guys. Let's look at the running backs we have. Miles Sanders, James Robinson, Gus Edwards, and Darrell Henderson. So unfortunately, that is still the weakest point of this roster. So let's just roll with Robbie Tonyan, my guy all season, off season, and preseason, right? I love Mike Gesicki, man. Don't have enough good things to say about him, but we need to add who I think is the final RB1 value on this roster. And then we're just going to have to cross our fingers, man, that Callaway, who just got drafted, or Jacoby Myers, I mean, Tyrell Williams, any of these guys fall to us here. And if they don't, it's completely okay, man. I mean, we don't come out of this draft with a lot of strong wide receivers, but we've got Tyreek Hill. We've got a ton of firepower at the RB position, and we've got some receivers who at least present very good values. Jacoby Myers is now off the board, right? And the other option here is that we just load up, add some more tight ends, maybe add a guy like David, or we can't draft another running back, I don't think. But anyways, we could always add another quarterback if they fall out here. We can add a rookie quarterback. So we could add my guy Tua, which I don't have a problem with. We'll go ahead and try and queue him up here as Jalen Hurts and Ryan Tannehill and Darnell Mooney are all off the board, man. I mean, a lot of good talent going off the board. I mean, don't forget about my guy Ramondre Stevenson or Rob Gronkowski. And like I said, I mean, Trevor Lawrence is sitting down here, Sterling Shepard, Jamison Crowder, Russell Gage. I mean, don't panic, man. If a lot of those, quote unquote sleepers that you were wanting to target get taken, it's okay, man. There's still a lot of good players who are going to be available. Just go into your draft having a lot of guys highlighted, and always have a backup to your backup that you want to take, right? Always have a second plan in place, a third plan in place, because the reality is there's going to be a lot of good value towards the end of these drafts, right? And we really do want to come out of this with another receiver, but Tyrell Williams is really looking like the only draftable receiver for me. And I mean, even though he is presenting that wide receiver one value, obviously we don't feel fantastic about that selection, but nonetheless, I don't have a problem with it. So let's look at the tight end position. I mean, Hunter Henry, Gronk, and Evan Ingram are really my top guys available, but you already know what time it is, baby. It's Tua time, right? How could I not select Tua in one of my final recorded mock drafts for the year, right? And I can't think of a better uh, position to be in when targeting Tua than having Patrick Mahomes on this roster. So we will look for a defense here in the 15th round. We'll go ahead and crack down this roster. So like I just said, at the quarterback position, we went out and we got Patty Mahomes very, very early on. I guess I wasn't in the first round. Technically, it was in the second round, but we had those back-to-back picks, right? But nonetheless, very, very early. Then we had paired him with Tua. So I'm really happy with both the quarterbacks on this team, right? That's really what this roster revolved around, was selecting Patrick Mahomes so early. But at the receiver position, we drafted Tyreek Hill in the first round. Then we had to go super, super wide receiver light. So Chase Claypool, Mike Williams, Jalen Waddle, and Tyrell Williams. So it's not as pretty at the wide receiver position, but all of these guys have the potential to have over 1,000 receiving yards this coming year and around 5 to 10 scores, right? So we're not going to be upset at the end of the day. I mean, it's not as pretty, not as flashy, but man, did we see a run on defenses here. I guess we got kind of the shit end of the stick here, so to speak, with having the final pick in the 15th round. But nonetheless, I think you have, your choice of the Colts or the Dolphins, right? Let's roll with the Dolphins for the sake of this mock draft. And then we're going to go ahead and get our kicker. I mean, yeah, it doesn't look right. Oh, yeah, our kickers are still, we've got some pretty good kickers. So let's get my guy, Young Ho Q, on this team. And then let's look at our running backs, man. Actually, first, let's look at the tight ends. We got Robert Tonyan. We had a chance to add another tight end like Gronk, like Evan Ingram, right? Someone else to give us some good value and some good depth, but we went ahead and got a second quarterback in Tua. And then let's crack down these running backs, as we know that we just went out and we got our kicker and Q, and we got our Dolphins defense to finish out the roster. There you have it. Your draft is complete. Look at those first 2 picks, Kansas City, man. But nonetheless, look at all these running backs we had to take right after. James Robinson, Miles Sanders, Josh Jacobs, Gus Edwards, Darrell Henderson, and Ronald Jones. So I actually think that we came out of this draft in very good fashion. The 2 guys that did not fall to us that we wanted would have been David Montgomery, of course, and Jerry Judy. I mean, if we had Montgomery over Miles Sanders and Jerry Judy over Claypool, I mean, no offense to Miles Sanders or Chase Claypool, right? But from a fantasy perspective, those would be the other guys that I would really want and feel very confident in this roster and this draft strategy. But nonetheless, I still think we came out of this draft in very good fashion. I really like this roster. I think it is a winning roster nonetheless. So as always, man, if you enjoy this video or find it helpful in any way, go ahead and smash the like button, man. It truly helps give the channel that little boost in the YouTube algorithm, helps other people see the channel and see our videos as well. And of course, man, we are on the road to 100 subscribers here at the Catch. We are so close, can feel it coming, is right around the corner. Go ahead and hit the sub button. That helps out the channel more than anything you could possibly do today, and it takes like 2 seconds. And as always, man, please drop some comments down below letting me know what you guys need to see in the future in these upcoming live stream mock drafts I'm going to do, as well as what you guys thought of this mock draft overall. As always, I thank you guys so much for watching and or listening, and remember, you saw it here on the Catch.